Right now, there are 195 countries on Earth, each with its own government, currency, and borders. But that's not how humans organized for most of history. For nearly all of the 300,000 years modern humans have existed, there were no countries at all. So what would actually happen if the whole planet operated as a single unified country? Not world peace in the abstract sense. One government, one system, one set of laws for 8 billion people. The obvious answer feels optimistic. No more wars between nations, no more border conflicts, everyone working together as one team. That's not really how this plays out. Start with the most basic problem: size. The largest country to ever attempt centralized governance was the Soviet Union, spanning 11 time zones and over 100 nationalities. It collapsed in 1991, partly because a government that size couldn't respond fast enough to local needs thousands of miles from the capital. A single world government would face that same problem multiplied by roughly 8 times the population. Decisions made in one central location would take too long to reach and would almost never fit conditions on the ground somewhere else entirely. Here's the detail that actually breaks the idea apart. A single country still needs a single capital, a single seat of power. The Roman Empire, at its peak, controlled roughly 20% of the world's population from one city. Even Rome eventually split its empire in two in 285 AD because no single administration could manage that much territory. If Rome couldn't manage 20% of the world from one government, managing 100% of it introduces problems humanity has never solved. There's a currency problem hiding underneath this too. Economists have already studied what happens when very different economies share one currency, because it's been tried, on a smaller scale, with the euro. Germany and Greece share the same currency today, but have wildly different economies, and that mismatch contributed directly to Greece's debt crisis in 2009, because Greece couldn't independently adjust its currency to fix its own problems. Scale that same issue up to the entire planet, where a farming region in Southeast Asia and a tech hub in Northern California would need identical monetary policy, and you get economic chaos, not harmony. There's also a stranger consequence buried in here. Without competing countries, a lot of the innovation we take for granted might simply slow down. The space race between the US and Soviet Union put humans on the moon within a single decade, driven almost entirely by two countries trying to outdo each other. Remove the comparison entirely, and there's no external benchmark forcing anyone to improve quickly. Push this further, and the political structure becomes the real issue. Every large nation that's tried to govern extremely diverse populations under one central system has eventually faced separatist movements because people far from the capital tend to feel unrepresented. India today governs over 1.4 billion people across dozens of languages, and even there, several regions have ongoing independence movements. A single world government wouldn't just have India's diversity problem, it would have every country's diversity problem simultaneously, layered on top of each other. And there's a darker version of this that historians point to directly. The systems in history that did successfully unify huge, diverse populations under one government, the Mongol Empire, the British Empire, maintained that unity through overwhelming force, not cooperation. A unified world government would likely require that same kind of centralized enforcement power to avoid fracturing, which raises the uncomfortable question of who gets to hold it and what stops that power from being abused at a scale no dictator in history has ever had access to. We like to imagine a single global country as the ultimate solution to conflict. One flag, one government, nobody left to fight over borders. But the actual historical pattern points somewhere very different. Every empire that got large enough to approach that scale didn't find unity. It found the exact same problems again, just bigger, right up until it broke apart. The reason there are 195 countries isn't a failure to unite. It might be the only stable size humans have ever actually figured out how to govern.